Hello, virtual audience. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the first edition of the Sips and Scripts New Works Festival. We're so excited to present this for you tonight. First, we just want to start by thanking everybody for rolling with these COVID punches. We're seeing a lot of black, empty chairs, but we are imagining your faces here tonight, and we feel your energy, and we are so excited to present this piece this evening and get this festival started. My name is Charlie Brady. I am the founder of Capital Arts Theater Guild.
And I am Yvette. I am the creator and producer of Sips and Scripts.
And tonight's first presentation of the weekend is Haiku by the incomparable Judy Dove, who we have here. And I'd love her to just come up and tell you all a little bit about herself and about her piece. Judy.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Yvette. So my name is Judy Dove. I am a playwright here in North Carolina. And I want to start off by thanking, first of all, Capital Arts Theater Guild, Sips and Scripts, and Theater Raleigh, Mike Brannon, our director, and all of our wonderful actors that we have here who are helping to bring this story to life. I grew up in Ohio, and my parents, my mother was Japanese, my father was American, and they instilled in me a love of reading, in particular Japanese fairy tales. And so a lot of the play that I've written for tonight was inspired by several Japanese fairy tales. And I wanted to bring this. This is the box that inspired the one that is in the play. And at the end of the play, I'm going to let my actors open it up. Okay? So thank you so much for this evening. Thank you, panelists.
Well, how's that for some anticipation? Can't wait to see what's inside. A big part about this process that is very unique to what this festival was about was a developmental process in which we had panelists. We had a round of presentations last weekend, and the panelists gave feedback. And the playwrights went home and spent the week editing, and the presentation you will see tonight has some edits and will be different than what we saw last weekend. And I would love Yvette to introduce the panelists that we have this evening.
Absolutely. We have 4 panelists who are watching tonight virtually. We have Mr. Eric Woodall, who is an extraordinary artist, as well as the artistic director of North Carolina Theater. We also have Mr. Roy Dix, who is a longtime theater critic and writer of the News and Observer, former writer of the News and Observer. We also have Mr. Mark Cornell, who is also an extraordinary artist, playwright, director, actor, for both stage and film. And of course, our special guest panelist, Mr. Jeffrey Sweet. He is a nationally acclaimed playwright, also on the council of the Dramatists Guild, and so much more. So we're very happy to have all of you panelists tonight to come and give us your time. Thank you.
All right, and as Judy said, this was directed by Mike Brannon, an impeccable human being who led a really tight ship and led these artists behind us to a great presentation. And I'd love to take a second and let everybody introduce themselves. We'll start over here at the end.
Sean McCracken reading Corporal Ralph Eagleman. Thomas Porter reading Michael White.
Danny Dove reading Toshi.
Kylie Robinson reading Shinju.
Sarah Koop reading Mizuki.
Alex Matsuo reading Susie.
Ted Szeto reading Mike.
Well, you are in for a treat tonight. I hope you enjoy yourselves. I think it's time to just get right into it. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Without further ado, here is Haiku by Judy Dove. Enjoy.
Haiku by Judy M. Dove. Scene 1. Setting, midnight, March 9th into March 10th, 1945, Tokyo. At rise, total darkness. Muffled sounds of bombs exploding and distant chaotic shouting and screaming. From the darkness up center, we hear tense, panicked voices shouting in Japanese, a baby crying, voices overlapping in the darkness. The following dialogue is spoken in Japanese.
Toshi, I can't stand this much longer.
Stay calm.
Are you sure we will be safe here?
Be quiet. Shh. Just listen.
It's so hot, I can't breathe.
Shut. Stop talking. Just breathe slowly.
If we stay in this shelter, we will bake alive. We have to leave. We have to make a run for it.
To where? Fire is raining down on everything.
Sumitagawa, we can jump in the river. The water will put the fire out.
Not this fire. Not this sticky fire that the Americans have. You cannot wash it off.
In the beat that follows, we realize that the baby's crying has stopped.
Toshi-san, she is not crying. Is she breathing?
Natsumi-chan. Toshi, she can't breathe. It's too hot.
I thought this shelter would keep us safe. The entire city's on fire.
Toshi-san, we will bake alive in here. It's going to be dangerous, but we have to leave here.
Everyone, keep calm. Do not lose sight of each other. When I open the door, we move quickly.
Where? Where will we go?
We will run for the river, but we might have to change course, so be alert. I know the way even in the dark. I will lead us. If we get separated, follow the railroad line. Do you have each other? Now, be careful of your clothes. The fire can catch your clothes. Now, go!
Immediately, the sounds of bombing, chaotic yelling, and screaming become close and loud. A bright, blinding light flashes as the family, silhouetted against the flames, pushes forward out of their shelter. The entire stage is engulfed in a terrifying, fiery light. Blackout. Silence. Scene 2. Setting, a small, cluttered but cozy home in Steubenville, Ohio, a number of years later, late at night. At Rise, Mike is standing in an outdated kitchen, cluttered with years of family living, pacing and looking at the clock. The doorbell rings. He opens the door.
Susie, I was worried about you.
Mike! I am so sorry. My plane arrived in Pittsburgh on time, but then the rental car got a flat tire, and once that was fixed, there was a huge traffic jam on Route 7. I should have called you, but anyway, I am just so happy to finally be home. Where's Mom?
Asleep. One of those rare moments.
Old Mizuki suddenly enters the room, wearing socks on her feet, clutching a small, old stuffed dog. Old, frail, she peers suspiciously at Susie.
Who's here?
Mom.
Who's this? We having company?
Mom, it's Susie. Remember Susie?
Mom, I'm Susie, your daughter.
We have to go.
Go where?
We have to leave now. They are coming.
Mom, why don't you go back to bed? It's late.
Old Mizuki pushes roughly past him and begins walking around the room, looking suspiciously at the furniture, the corners, listening to an unheard sound. Mike instinctively positions himself by the front door to block any attempted exit.
See? They are here!
Mom, it's okay. It's just your imagination. No one is here except me and Mike.
You are not taking this seriously.
She roughly shoves the stuffed dog into Susie's hands.
Here, Shinju, take Natsumi-chan. We have to leave now.
Mom!
They are going to kill us. It will be dangerous, but we have to leave now.
She tries to push past Mike, who blocks her path with his body. She tries to dart around him.
Move! Let me go!
Susie, don't let her get past you.
What is going on? Who is Shinju?
Toshi! Why are you not going? They're going to kill us. We have to leave. Now!
She grabs one of the kitchen chairs and throws it over onto the floor. As Mike goes to retrieve the chair, old Mizuki slips behind him and jabs her knee into the back of his knee, easily causing him to collapse. As Susie rushes to help Mike, old Mizuki darts for the door, manages to slip out, and exits. Susie and Mike run after her off stage, calling after her to come back. We see inside old Mizuki's mind as she trudges outside on her journey. A huge full moon appears in the sky over Mount Fuji, casting a moonbeam path onto the ground. Old Mizuki begins trudging up the moonbeam path, headed toward the moon. Against the full moon, Toshi appears, youthful, commanding, and strong. He calls out to old Mizuki.
Mizuki! Sister! Does your far journey finally bring you back home?
Toshi, my brother, I am ready to come home. It has been too long.
Will you now remove your flawed American shoes to enter Japan?
Faith, love guided me. Celestial war is now over. Let me come home.
But where are your shoes? You must remove your old shoes before you can come in. Go back. Say goodbye. You are not quite ready yet. I will wait for you.
From offstage, we hear Mike and Susie calling for their mother.
They come for me now. Let my socks replace my shoes. I will send them now.
Toshi disappears into the moon as Susie and Mike enter. They see old Mizuki and run to her, protectively grabbing her arms to prevent her from escaping. Old Mizuki cries out in panic as they lead her off stage.
Toshi, wait! Come back! I will not sting the moonbeams. Let me come with you.
Blackout. Lights come up in Mike's kitchen. Old Mizuki is not in the room. She has been returned to her bed and is now asleep.
Well, that was not at all what I was expecting. How long do you think she'll stay asleep?
It depends.
Well, that was smart. You telling her to get in the car so you could drive us to someplace safe?
Yeah. Usually when this happens, if I can get her into the car, I'll take her through a fast food drive-thru for ice cream. But it was too late tonight and they were all closed.
Well, by the time we drove around a bit, she seemed to have forgotten that we were supposed to be running from something.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Am I still a part of the family? Oh, come on, Mike. I have to laugh about it or I get depressed. Did it upset me when Mom said it? Yes, but I can laugh at it now. I wish you would.
I still don't think it's funny. How many cups of sugar would you like in your tea? Oh, come on now, laugh. That's funny.
Now that's not funny. Leave me alone.
I remember when you were a kid, every time you made a cup of tea, you put so much sugar in it, there was sugar sludge at the bottom.
I couldn't help it. I hated tea, but it was the only thing around here to drink except milk and water.
Do you still put that much in?
Leave me alone.
He hands her the cup of tea, and she proceeds to put 4 teaspoons of sugar in it.
Where's the old teapot we used to have?
I can't remember. One day Mom was certain there was a face in the teapot and that it was watching her, so I had to hide it. I put it in a safe place. I just don't remember where. I'm getting old. You know, Mom didn't mean what she said. She always talked about you. She was proud of you. It's just
I know. Because when she left Japan and married an American, she was told she was no longer a part of her family. Mm-hmm. Intellectually, I know she was just reacting and transferring it to me. Maybe it was a way for her to finally feel in control. But I didn't leave the country. I didn't marry the enemy. I never tried to shut her out of my life. I just wanted to live my life. I don't think she even knows who I am now. From the conversations we've had on the phone, I'm not sure who she thinks I am. Maybe that's why we get along so well now.
I think she knows. Sometimes, anyway. But I'm glad you came. I really don't know how much time we have left with her.
Well, if that's what it's like to be old, if that's the reward for healthy living and a long life, I'm not sure longevity is on my wish list. Did you find the box?
Yes.
Where is it? Did you look in it?
It's in the cupboard here. She had it hidden on the floor of her closet, under a pile of clothes. But it was still there. And yes, I did look inside.
I thought we were going to do it together. You couldn't wait until I got home.
I tripped and the lid fell off. That's all. Don't worry, it's okay. I didn't go through it, just peeked.
Why don't we look at it now while she's asleep? I'm not sure she would like it if she walked in and found me here going through her special box.
Mike goes to a cabinet and pulls out a beautiful black Japanese lacquered box.
That's it.
Are you sure we want to do this? You know how private Mom has always been. I mean, as much as she seemed to be really proud of her family back in Tokyo, she never really talked about it. Or about her life in Japan really much at all. Whatever's in this box, she kept it close to her heart. Think this through.
Meaning?
If she wanted us to know as much as she wanted us to know.
But there are things I want to know that I didn't even think to ask when I was a kid. I've wondered my whole life what was in this secret box. I want to know.
And what if we bring up a memory that she doesn't want to remember? She made life seem so easy. Baking pies and sewing and donating crafts to the church bazaars. But how many times did we find her alone, crying? She would never tell us what was wrong. She showed everyone what she wanted them to see.
We don't have to tell her.
Well then, Junkenpon?
They laugh as they prepare to play a game of Japanese rock, paper, scissors.
Oh my gosh, I haven't played this in years. Saisho wa gu?
Junkenpon! Aiko! Aiko desho!
I win! Let's open the box. Hey, Mike. I hope you know how much I appreciate you retiring to take care of Mom. I know it's not easy, and I meant it when I said she could come live with me.
Don't worry. She's happier being at home. If she were at your place, she would be so confused.
Okay. First item. What's there?
Mike picks up an aged newspaper article.
Aw, look. It's from when we were kids. The newspaper did an article on her because she was the first Japanese war bride to come to our city. Looks like she was demonstrating how to make a Japanese meal. She seems so happy.
Susie takes a small wallet-sized photo from the box.
My goodness, that looks like my Jenny. Who is this?
There's a date on it. Mizuki, 1945. That's Mom.
She would have been, what, 15 or 16? Goodness, this is like looking at my daughter dressed in a kimono. Hey, did you know that Mom wrote poems? There's some haiku in here.
Poems? No. Are you sure they're hers?
That's Mom's handwriting. Plus, it's in English. You know she worked hard on her English, really tried to master it.
As she looks at the paper, a young Mizuki appears in a light upstage of them, so that she is looking past time and space at her two children. Mizuki recites the poem, being careful to retain its poetic shape as she recites it, as if she were recounting a memory, but Susie and Mike are hearing her voice in their minds.
Air bursts into flames. Babies cry, mothers despair. A scream, born as ash.
Mizuki fades out with the light.
Whoa, what was that about?
She lived in Tokyo. The Tokyo air raid in 1945. That would have been the same time this photo was taken.
I mean, she never really talked about it, so I never thought to ask her questions, but she would have been 15 in 1945? Did Tokyo get attacked? I thought it was just Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh, no. Tokyo got it bad, but it was firebombing. I remember something about Uncle Toshi having built a shelter. They lived not too far from the Imperial Palace, and that's probably why they were able to survive. MacArthur wanted to keep the Emperor alive to maintain some kind of order in the country, but it was still devastating.
How did you know all this? Where was I? The only thing I remember from history class was the day Mr. Fragan called me up to the front of the class and asked me to say if I thought if it was right or wrong for the United States to have dropped the atomic bomb on Japan. I was 14 and terrified that something bad would happen to Mom if I gave the wrong answer. Like, she'd get taken away, or people would hate her, or pick on her, or something. So I stuck up for the United States.
Well, you know, if we hadn't used the atom bomb, the war would have kept on going and more people would have died.
See, I've never agreed with that. I've always believed that every country's government is playing chess, using their citizens as pawns, and it's all because of the greed of the ones in power. I wish I had thought to ask these questions when Mom and Dad were still here. I mean, Mom is here, but...
I know.
Oh, here's another haiku. Let's see what this one says.
Mizuki again appears in a light upstage of them and recites the poem as if she were recounting a memory.
Crimson autumn stirs, yet sakura blooms in heart. Kosumosu smiles.
Mizuki fades out with the light.
Sakura? Cherry blossoms are a spring flower, but she says it's autumn.
Springtime in the heart?
Do you think that's when she met Dad?
Mom fell in love.
Blackout. Scene 3. Setting, a Tokyo flower shop, early autumn 1950. Morning. A red tengu mask hangs on the wall. At Rise, Mizuki is at the counter working numbers on a sheet of paper using a large abacus. Toshi is in the back room.
Toshi, are the flowers for the hotel ready? They will be here soon to pick them up.
Yes, I got here early this morning and have everything ready.
Please check it again. It has to be perfect. It is for the lobby centerpiece at the Hotel New Grand, and we want them to be happy with it.
It is perfect.
Check it again.
Toshi rolls his eyes but goes to the back to check. Shinju enters. Like Mizuki, she is in her early 20s, but unlike Mizuki, she is dressed in a more modern, trendy skirt and blouse.
Ohayou gozaimasu, Mizuki-san.
Shinju-san, where are you going all dressed up so early?
This is how I always dress. Nothing new.
You were going to meet someone? Someone new?
It's more like a job interview. Maybe.
Shinju-san, you need to be careful. If you need a job, my brother will hire you to work here.
Thank you, but that's all right. You offer me a job every time I come in. But I've been supporting myself for the last 5 years.
Shinju, we have been friends for a long time. I worry about you. Remember us back in school? We were going to be great poets.
Like Matsuo Basho.
Or like Chioni. Why try to be like a man when there are talented women to emulate? You and I are each a line of 5 beats, with the middle 7 describing our journey through life as friends. Where to go? Searching, like...
A moon moth without wings, for a way to live.
Fire can't destroy us. Instead, it illuminates.
A new path forward.
Shinju-san, you don't need to let yourself be controlled by men. There's another path forward.
If I had not been at your house that night, I would not have survived. We lost everything in the air raid. Our homes, our families, our pets. You remember? There was no food, no jobs, no schools. How are we supposed to live? I took what path I could find to move forward. I have done what I needed to do to stay alive. Besides, I am serving our country by doing this job. I help the government of Japan to protect other girls, like you.
You are not protecting me.
Yes, I am protecting you. These American soldiers will take out their passion with me, so all innocent girls of Japan can feel safer during the occupation. That's what our government says.
Shinju-san, stand up straight.
Why?
Anyone can see. Your blouse, the top button is open.
It's a warm day. Besides, no one is here.
Someone might come in.
You worry too much. You should try it. Maybe someone will give you a nice handbag, like I got.
I am not like that. Stand up straight, please.
All right, but this...
She gestures to her bust.
...is what men are attracted to. I can show you some bust exercises if you want to make yours bigger.
I don't need your exercises. I have a decent job and I have respect.
Who is more loyal to our country? The girl who answers the call to distract foreign army guys from our innocent young girls? Or the girl who thinks only of herself? Flower blooms in field, is plucked, taken away, so other blossoms live.
Flower spreads her seed on soil that fails to nourish, wilts, fades, dies alone. No matter what they tell you, you must remember that. You can get hurt, you can get diseases. They closed up the Special Recreation Association less than a year after it opened because of the diseases.
There is still a need. The American soldiers will still occupy Japan. Besides, I only agree when I can be his one and only. I am not a butterfly. I'm working exclusively with officers now. They get paid more, I get paid more.
I want a better life too. I want a husband who can take care of me, who is honest and a hard worker, who I can raise a family with, but I won't sell myself to get it. I will wait for the right man.
Toshi enters and seems surprised to see Shinju. He has always liked her, but has never been able to tell her.
Shinju-san. Ohayo gozaimasu. It has been a long time since I saw you. You are looking very stylish.
Oh, that's not true.
Toshi, the chrysanthemums?
So. They're ready since early this morning. Let me know when the truck is here.
They hear a loud crash. Toshi panics and dashes to the back room. We hear him shouting as he tries to chase something out of the room. At the same time, Michael and Ralph enter the shop from the front door. They have arrived to pick up a delivery for the hotel.
Shinju-san, can you please go back to help Toshi?
She pushes Shinju to urge her to go quickly, then turns with a calm smile to the officers, smooths her apron, and tries to remain professional. Through the conversation, we hear periodic outbursts from Toshi, who is angry and dismayed, and laughter from Shinju, who is amused.
Good morning, Sergeant Michael White. This is Corporal Ralph Eagleman.
Corporal Eagleman, Ohio.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
We have a purchase order here for a large number of chrysanthemums to be used in the hotel display for General Marshal's visit. The truck is out back, ready to load.
We have it ready for you. I will call Toshi.
At that moment, Shinju appears from the back room, trying in vain to control her giggling. Mizuki is embarrassed that this demeanor gives an unprofessional air to the business exchange.
My friend is a very happy person.
Shinju breaks into louder laughter. Mizuki addresses her, diplomatically trying to get her to leave.
My friend, you have so much joy in your heart, you will honor the world by going out to share it with others.
Mizuki gestures gracefully towards the front door.
Shika, it was a deer! So cute!
Toshi appears from the back, looking disheveled and frustrated.
It's gone. I got it out.
How did a deer get in the back?
I left the door to the loading dock open. I knew the truck was to arrive soon, and I felt it would help speed up the delivery.
Like a lollipop, Chrysanthemum sweetly called to the hungry deer.
Chrysanthemums, no, Toshi! Peace and calm exist when flowers are tended to with care and respect. Shinju-san, please remain with the honored officers here while I restore peace.
Mizuki leads Toshi to the back room to survey the damage, leaving Shinju in charge out front. There is a brief, awkward silence as Michael, Ralph, and Shinju stare at each other, trying to think of what to say.
Let me introduce myself. Corporal Ralph Eagleman, United States Army.
Oh, you are officer?
Sure am.
And you, Mr.
White. Sergeant White.
Must be hard selling flowers here because you're more beautiful than any blossom in this room.
Oh, no, that is really not true.
Hey, look, she's got that Lauren Bacall look. What'd you say your name was?
I did not say, but my name is Shinju.
Shinju. That's hard. Am I pronouncing it right?
Corporal, you're being rude. We're here on
Shinju.
business.
Shinju. What's that mean? Don't all Japanese names have a meaning?
It is Shinju, and it means a pearl.
Pearl, huh? You are a pearl. You got a boyfriend?
Corporal Eagleman.
It is okay. I don't have a boyfriend. Your name is Ralph?
Ralph Eagleman. Yes, ma'am.
Eagleman. That is a very nice name. Very American. Like the eagle. That is a symbol of your country.
Hardly. You couldn't be more wrong.
Okay, Sarge, leave it alone.
No, you told me this last weekend and I can't get the picture out of my head.
That was our conversation and no one else's.
His name is of German origin. You know how everyone in America comes from somewhere else? Well, eagle is a German word for hedgehog. So it's more like hedgehog man. Do you know what a hedgehog is?
Yes, I know. It's the little needle mouse.
Okay, that's enough. Don't we have a shipment of flowers to pick up? What's that? It's not the most inviting thing I've seen here.
Oh, that is Tengu. He is a deity that protects us from bad spirits and brings good luck.
Oh, how can something that creepy bring good luck?
Tengu will sometimes have wings like a large bird and will capture humans and carry them off. They show the humans sights that help them to learn or to understand things. These people eventually return to their village, but many times they have lost their minds and gone mad.
Mizuki re-enters.
It is ready. Everything is ready to load onto the truck.
Corporal Eagleman, why don't you go around back to supervise the loading while I finish with the purchase order here?
Yes, sir.
Corporal-san, I can show you a shortcut if you'd like. We can go through the back door.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Ladies first. So you don't have a boyfriend, you say?
No, I don't. And you, do you have a one and only?
Well,
They
in fact, I
exit.
don't.
Michael and Mizuki look at each other awkwardly for a moment. He tries to break the awkward silence with a pun.
Ohio.
It's a little later now, so we say konnichiwa.
Oh, that was a joke. That's where I'm from.
You are from Good Morning?
No, it's where I live in the States. It's one of the states. I'm from Ohio on the Ohio River.
Yes, it does sound like Good Morning. Ohio.
That's okay. Nobody ever gets my jokes. So, you are from Tokyo originally?
Yes, I was born in Tokyo.
Does your family still live here? Oh. Gosh, I'm sorry. I should be more sensitive.
No, it's all right. I have my older brother, Toshi. He works here with me. You saw him a moment ago. My family, I did not see them since the Tokyo air raid.
I'm sorry. I really am sorry.
Japanese people are sorry about Pearl Harbor. When we heard about it, we were sad. I know I didn't want it to happen. It will be just a moment before the flowers are loaded. Thank you for this purchase order. I hope your event is successful.
Thank you. Shinju told us that her name means a pearl. Does your name have a meaning?
Yes. My name means beautiful moon.
Beautiful moon. How do people decide what to name their kids?
It depends. Sometimes we are named after family or for a person of honor. My mother gave me this name because she loved the story of Kaguya Hime, the princess who came from the moon.
Oh? I've never heard that one.
Yes. Princess Kaguya was sent from the moon to live on Earth to keep her safe during a celestial war. Many men wanted to marry her, including the emperor, but she gave them impossible tasks so they would fail to win her hand. She knew she could not marry anyone on Earth since she would have to return to the moon.
That's actually sad.
It is sad, but beautiful. Kaguya Hime followed her destiny. She had no choice. When I was born, my mother was hoping that I would be born under a full, beautiful moon. But when I was born, the moon was very thin, almost gone. But she said that even though the moon was falling asleep, it would still give me light to guide me.
At this moment, Ralph and Shinju re-enter, followed by Toshi, who stops short and glares as he watches Michael talking to his sister and senses their growing friendship.
The shipment is ready.
All ready to go. Thank you again. Great job. I'm sure we'll do business with you again.
Ralph extends his hand to Toshi, but Toshi does not reciprocate. They stare at each other, tension building, realizing that they are both competing for Shinju's affections.
Thank you, Toshi. I am so grateful that you will make sure the doors are closed, since deer seem to like to visit us.
Toshi reluctantly exits, staring at Ralph as he leaves. Ralph takes out a cigarette and offers one to Shinju and Mizuki. Mizuki refuses politely, but Shinju accepts.
Corporal Eagleman, we are on official duty. No smoking.
Shinju here isn't in the army. I can at least offer her one.
Ralph takes out a book of matches and lights her cigarette. He shakes the flame out and tosses the match to the floor. Mizuki suddenly panics, runs around the counter to retrieve the match, and plunges it into a bucket of water.
No, careful, it might catch fire.
I put it out. Not gonna do anything.
That is not true. A match can stay hot for a while. It could catch something on fire. You have to make sure it is completely wet before you throw it away, or it could relight.
Corporal, meet me at the Jeep. I'll be right out.
Walk out with me, Shinju. Your name's too hard to say. I'm gonna call you Lauren, like that movie star Lauren Bacall.
Ooh, I like being a movie star. Lauren, that's too hard. Lauren, I can't say it.
Well, how about Ginger? You know who Ginger Rogers is.
The dancer, yes, with Fred Astaire.
Let's call you Ginger, and I'll take you dancing so you can show me what a great dancer you are. Walk out with me?
Ginger, I like that. Ginger and maybe I could call you Fred?
No, my name's Ralph. You'll learn it.
Ralph and Shinju exit.
Thank you for your great service today.
I hope that your general is happy with the display.
I'm sure it'll be perfect.
Is there something else I can help you with?
Yes, actually. I recently met this really nice girl, and I want to give her something nice, but not too forward. What would you suggest?
Oh, well, flowers or candy is always a nice gesture. How long have you known her?
Not very long at all. If I went with flowers, what kind do you think I should get? Well, how about these?
Oh, those are red spider lilies. That means goodbye or when someone dies. We use them for funerals. I wouldn't get those.
See, this is why I need your help. I don't know a thing about flowers, and I might make a big mistake. What would you suggest? Roses?
You said you just met her. Roses might be too much, too strong. What is she like?
Well, she's really sweet. She's pure, beautiful, has $1 million smile. She's the kind of girl you'd be proud to take home to your mom.
She seems like a very special lady. These are nice. Kosumosu. They look like cherry blossoms, so we call them autumn sakura. It means purity and beauty. A clean life.
Cosmos! There was a neighbor down the street back home who had her whole front yard filled with them. I think these are perfect. I'll take a bouquet of them.
He takes out money and lays it on the counter while Mizuki prepares the bouquet. He thinks he is leaving more than enough and tries to play the big shot.
Keep the change.
Oh. Actually, it's not enough.
Oh. Sorry about that.
She completes the sale and hands him the bouquet.
I hope she will like this thoughtful gift.
I do too.
He takes the bouquet from her, takes a deep breath, and then hands it back to her.
These are for you. Mizuki, may I see you again? May I call on you?
Mizuki is overwhelmed with surprise, but is very pleased. She nods her head yes. We hear a horn beeping outside.
Sergeant! General Marshall will be here and gone before we ever get these delivered.
I'll come back. I promise.
He exits. Mizuki stands, somewhat stunned, breathless, thrilled, holding the bouquet. She doesn't notice that Toshi has entered, having watched their interaction from the other room.
What did Round Eyes want?
Mizuki whirls around in surprise.
Nothing much. He said we did a good job with the order.
It's not so long ago that you would forget. The Americans, they are our enemy. They killed our families. They burned our homes.
I remember. I do not forget. I try to, but I can't.
You should not forget. What kind of people are these that would do something like that to innocent people, children?
Toshi, in fact, some of the Americans that were killed were blown away by grenades that you yourself made. You and your classmates, when the government took you from the schools and trained you to make weapons for the war.
I was doing my duty to Japan and to our emperor. What I did was to protect our people.
Don't you see? No one wants to die. Especially not like that. Someone has to stop first. The Americans have been good to us these last 5 years. They help us to rebuild our country.
As they should. They're the ones who destroyed it with fire. Now they come here, act the hero, and take our women. They take our entire country.
What has obeying our government gotten any of us? I know what I see. I know what I have experienced. Our leaders did not care about us when they kept the war going. It is all the governments of all the countries who are playing games of shogi, using their people as playing pieces. If an American shows me kindness, why should I not return the kindness? How can feelings of affection be worse than feelings of hate?
If you continue to see this American, you will end up like Shinju. You will lose respect, and then he will leave you.
You want to talk about Shinju? She was told by our own government that she is being loyal to our country because she sacrifices herself to take a job that distracts American soldiers from other girls. Our government is willing to sacrifice our women to appease American soldiers. And why? Because they expected American soldiers to treat us the way our own soldiers treated the women in China, but that isn't happening.
Do not speak like that about our imperial army. Do not disrespect our emperor. He is a living god.
Our emperor shook hands with General MacArthur. We lost the war.
You saw the charred bodies of our neighbors and friends lying like dogs, like logs of charcoal on the ground. The Americans did that. Their pilots flew so low, you could see the reflections of the flames on the bodies of the airplanes. How can you forget?
Yes. We lost our mother and father. We lost little Natsumi-chan, our baby cousin. Do you remember watching her turn into a ball of fire that could not be put out? Yes, Americans did that, but our government let that happen to us. I don't forget, but I won't let the memory keep anger in my heart. Don't you think our parents would want us to live happy lives?
Not if it meant being disloyal. The Americans may have won the war, but they are the ones who are cowards. They would have surrendered under the same conditions if the war was happening on American soil. That would have brought disgrace to their entire country. But we were brave, and we did not give up. It seems that you think that the neighbor's flowers are more red than your own. You think this is what you want, but you cannot trust an American.
He exits. Mizuki stands alone at the counter, flowers in her hands, holding back tears. Blackout. Scene 4. Back in Ohio, in Susie and Mike's family home as they continue their visit. Susie continues looking at the haiku found in the box as she waits for Mike to return from checking on their mother. He returns.
How is she?
She's okay, considering. Having a bad dream. That happens a lot these days. A few days ago, I heard her moving around in the kitchen in the middle of the night. She thought her mom was making dinner and she had to come out to see if it was ready.
Her mom? She's been gone for decades.
I know. And sometimes she tells me it's time to go to the airport, to go back to Japan. And when she gets like that, well, you saw it for yourself. You can't stop her. It's amazing how strong such a tiny, frail woman can be. She gets away from me and goes out in the yard and starts walking up the road, heading for Japan, I guess.
Have you heard back on your search for an in-home caregiver? Mike, you have been looking for an in-home caregiver, right? I offered to look, but you said you wanted to do it. Mike.
It's not that easy. You have no idea. There is no way you could understand what it's like to be in this situation.
Mike, at some point, you have to reach out to the community and ask for help. This is more than you. It's more than any of us. We're both getting older ourselves.
Susie, you know how stubborn she is. She's always been strong-willed. I'm doing the best I can. There's so much fear and distrust that's built up over the years. Some people's minds still harbor a grudge against anyone whose heritage places them in the same spot with someone who may have killed an uncle, or bombed a ship, or kept a parent from their child. I'm doing my best to keep her safe.
But Mike...
And it doesn't change the fact that, right or wrong, you did leave the family and move away. So what gives you the right to make choices about her now? You left her. You left us.
That is not fair. That is totally not fair.
We hear Mizuki calling out from the other room.
I'll be right back.
He exits. Susie, upset, rummages through the box and finds another haiku. Mizuki reappears in a light upstage of her and recites the poem as if she were recounting a memory.
Heart yearns to join heart. Now dead, I live defiant. Life without joy dies.
Susie ponders this as Mizuki fades out with the light. Blackout. Scene 5. Setting, a nightclub in Tokyo, 1950. Dance music is playing in the background. At Rise, Michael, Mizuki, Ralph, and Shinju are double dating, sitting at a table at the club. The guys are drinking beers, the ladies are drinking sodas. Michael and Mizuki are sitting with space in between them, but Ralph and Shinju are sitting closer, and Ralph has his arm around her.
How's your pop there, Ginger baby?
It's good.
You want another?
Oh, no thank you. I still have plenty.
Back home, I'd go to clubs with my dad since I was maybe 14, I'd say. I play piano, and he'd take me there so I could play for folks and for tips, and he'd play his fiddle along with me. Good times.
Are you both from the same city?
No, same general area, but not the same town. I'm from Ohio, and Corporal Eagleman is from Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, great city.
What is Pittsburgh famous for?
Oh, so many things. We make steel. It's used for cars, buildings, ships, bridges. Jeeps, yes, sir. We also have baseball. Ever hear of the Pittsburgh Pirates? Yeah, we got Ralph Kiner. Always leads the league in home runs, maybe 5 years now.
He has the same name as you?
Sure does.
I can't say your name.
I can say his name, but I prefer to call him something else.
Like Needle Mouse?
Okay, stop making fun of my last name.
What about shopping?
Oh, well, let's see. There's Gimbals, Kaufman's.
We have the Hub in Steubenville. It's not too far away. Movies, too. And there's lots to do. Oh, and the best pizza in the world, DeCarlo's.
What is pizza?
You've never had pizza? We need to change that.
Mizuki-san, I'm going to the powder room. You want to come with me?
Yes, thank you. I'll be right back.
Mizuki and Shinju exit.
That Shinju's something else. Real baby-san. She's a Japanese pearl.
Just make sure you aren't telling her any lies. She seems like a swell girl, and I wouldn't want to see you hurt her.
Who says I'm gonna hurt her? I really like her. She's a lot of fun. Speaking of being sweet on someone, you and Mizuki are getting along real good.
Ralph takes a swig from his beer bottle and realizes it is empty.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I also respect her.
This beer needs refreshed. I'll be right back.
Ralph stands up and takes out his wallet to check and count his cash. A photo falls out and lands on the table.
Hey, you dropped something.
Michael picks up the photo to hand it to Ralph and realizes it is a picture of a pretty girl.
Who's this?
Oh, no one.
Ralph reaches to take the photo from Michael, but Michael pulls it back and looks at the back of the picture.
It's just my mom.
Did your mom have you when she was 6 years old? To Ralph, your sweetheart forever, Ellie. Your sweetheart? You got a girl back home you ain't telling us about?
I can't help it if women like me. They're always giving me their pictures. I wouldn't want to hurt their feelings by not taking them. Gives them something to hope for.
She thinks she's your sweetheart. How'd she get that idea?
I don't know. Women are hard to figure out. They always read more into things than they should. Okay, maybe I told her I liked her. A lot. And I kind of asked her to marry me.
You're engaged?
Not officially. I didn't give her a ring or anything. I just said that maybe we would get married when I got back. But I said maybe. Women jump on everything you say.
You better be honest with Shinju and with Ellie. Times are tough and people are lonely. You shouldn't go around taking advantage of that.
At that moment, Shinju and Mizuki reappear.
Ralph, you gonna tell her?
Tell me what?
The music starts back up and Ralph hurriedly grabs the photo from Michael, puts it back in his wallet, and stuffs his wallet back into his pocket, trying to recover from his blunder. He turns to Shinju.
That I'd love to have this dance. That's why I call you Ginger. You got those gorgeous dancing legs.
Oh, no, that's not really true.
Ralph takes her by the hand and leads her off stage to the dance floor. Michael and Mizuki are alone. They smile awkwardly at each other.
What's it like in America?
Oh, it's a great place. I don't know where to start. There's the family dinners. My two sisters learning to make collage.
What's collage?
It's a pastry with fruit filling. My family brought the recipe over from Europe. Then there's the holidays, Christmas trees, Easter egg hunts, the 4th of July with all the fireworks, chasing rabbits and catching lightning bugs, car rides, movie rides, football games, baseball games, county fairs. How about you? What do you do when you aren't at work?
Oh, I like to sew and cook and go to festivals. I like to do the hula hoop. For a while, things were hard and we didn't have a way to do more than work and survive. We had to rebuild everything in the city. Many families were lost.
Yeah. War is a horrible thing. Families will never be the same. They say we have to have war in order to have peace, but I just want peace. I want what's good for the world. We need not to just rebuild the cities and countries. We need to rebuild trust.
So, your family, you say, is from Europe?
A long time ago. My mom's side of the family is originally from Czechoslovakia, but my dad's side is from France. The ones from France, their name was Blanchet. When the Germans took over Alsace-Lorraine in northern France during World War I, my grandfather and his family were forced to become German citizens. Well, that meant they couldn't fight for France anymore. So since he was technically now a foreigner, he ran away to Corsica and joined the French Foreign Legion. That way he can fight for France. He changed his name from Guillaume Blanchet to Wilhelm Weiss. Just a German version of the same name. But when he came to America, he wanted to shed his German identity, but he didn't want to be identified as a traitor by going back to Blanchet. So his name was Americanized to William White. Works to my advantage now, because being German isn't exactly popular right now. With that name change, I can just blend right in.
The band starts to play Irving Berlin's Always.
Hey, do you know this song? Oh, the words are easy. I'll teach it to you.
Oh no, I don't sing.
Whenever I nod to you, just say always.
He begins singing along with the band singer, who is heard offstage.
I'll be loving you always with a love that's true.
Always.
When the things you plan need a helping hand, I will understand.
Always.
May I have this dance?
Oh no, I don't dance.
I'll teach you.
He takes her hand and leads her out to the dance floor. They begin dancing a bit stiffly, so to break the ice, he teases her by tapping her on the nose every time the word always is sung.
Days may not be fair, always.
On the word always, Michael taps Mizuki playfully on the nose. She playfully wrinkles up her nose and then pretends to stretch it back out again with her fingers.
That's when I'll be there, always.
Stop,
Michael taps
make my nose
Mizuki.
shorter.
Not for just an hour, not for just a day, not for just a year, but always.
Michael leads Mizuki in a slow twirl to end the dance, then draws her close to him. They are gazing into each other's eyes.
Mizuki, I know I haven't known you very long, but I have to go back to the States in a couple of months, and I just can't bear the thought of never seeing you again. Mizuki, will you marry me? Will you be my wife and come live in America with me?
Blackout. Scene 6. Setting back in Ohio, in Susie and Mike's family home as they continue their visit. At Rise, Susie and Mike are still looking at objects and reading slips of paper in the box, but they are sitting a bit further away from each other, with their backs angled so they aren't looking at each other. There is tension. After a moment, Mike speaks.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's frustrating. It's just not possible for me to stay here indefinitely, and if you don't want Mom to move and live with me,
It would
then...
confuse her. I've said that before. This has been her home for almost 70 years. She's confused as it is, and I think it helps her to be in a familiar place, with familiar things, and someone she knows taking care of her.
I'm tired of feeling guilty for doing something every human has a right to do. To fall in love and make a life, a home with that person. To have children.
You had a right to do what you did.
What I did? All I did was meet a nice guy and fall in love. Get married and have kids. How is that so complicated? It's the simplest thing in the world.
I know. But nothing was ever simple for our family, you know. I mean, going out to friends to get ice cream, that's a simple thing for most people. But when it's finally your turn in line and the server looks at you and says, "I don't serve chinks. I'm not even Chinese. I'm a Jap."
This breaks the
riding
tension.
bikes, an all-American pastime. Simple and innocent until a neighbor says, everybody can ride their bikes in our driveway except Susie and Mike because they're Japanese.
And they probably weren't sure which one of us was which because we look exactly alike.
Yeah, what country are you from? No, not Ohio, before that.
But I was born in Ohio.
No, before that.
But, oh, do you speak English?
Mais oui, absolument. Et vous?
We really should have gotten t-shirts that said, I'm from Ohio on the front and sayonara on the back.
Oh, remember that time a group of kids followed me home from the bus stop chanting, ching, chang, chong? I stopped, and I turned around and said, you mispronounced it. I don't know whether they were shocked that I dared to say something or if they actually thought they might have been saying real words, but they never bothered me again.
They laugh some more. Susie picks up another folded paper from the box and looks at it.
This one's spunky. Look.
Mizuki again appears in a light upstage of them and recites the poem as if she were recounting a memory.
Daruma-san, hi. They try to knock me over. Pop, I'm still here.
Mizuki fades out with the light.
Daruma-san. I remember. Those round dolls with strange black eyes. You could never knock them over because they would bounce back up.
I used to think they were creepy. I used to try and try, but I could never get one to stay down. They'd pop right back up again.
I never thought about Mom being like Daruma-san dolls. But in a way, she is.
Yeah. You could try to knock her over, but she'd bounce right back up. I never realized how strong she had to be to live here in the post-World War II years. Say, do you remember a time when we were actually bilingual? When we understood and spoke Japanese?
I do. Mom always called me her Kuma-chan because she said I reminded her of a bear cub.
She called me Kaguya Hime, the princess who came from the moon. Some princess I was. I was always doing something to make her mad at me. I couldn't tell you what, but I remember this one time when I was really young, she was chasing me down the hall yelling, Dame Deisho! Dame Deisho! Whatever she was saying, I knew I should run. She stopped speaking Japanese as soon as we started to speak it.
She did it to protect us, you know. She didn't want us to have an accent. She thought if she stopped speaking Japanese, we wouldn't have accents and people wouldn't make fun of us.
But she would always say, Oyasumi nasai, when she would tell us goodnight. We have that at least.
Blackout. Scene 7. Setting, a florist shop in Tokyo, 1950. At Rise, Toshi is sweeping the floor. Mizuki enters and goes behind the counter, opens her ledger, takes out the abacus, and begins to write.
Have you heard from the hotel? Did they like the arrangement?
Yes, they liked it very much. They were very pleased and will order from us again.
Huh. That's wonderful. I'm glad we had extra chrysanthemums in the back. I was not expecting a deer to wander, and the forests have reestablished well, and there is plenty to eat out there, so why did they come to the city?
Mizuki doesn't answer. He pauses to look at her as she adds numbers using the abacus to help her, then continues sweeping.
That's good news.
He looks up at her. She is engrossed in her work, but now he wonders if she might be upset or ignoring him.
Tonight we can have something other than just ochazuke with rice and green tea.
There is nothing wrong with ochazuke with just rice. We are lucky to have that. Don't you remember just a few years ago when the rice was rationed? We had to mix our rice with wheat to make it last longer. The wheat would swell up and the rice would disappear. I am glad we have ochazuke with just rice. We should be grateful.
I know. I am. I just meant...
It doesn't matter what you meant. What was meant doesn't matter. Only what is.
What are you talking about?
Never mind.
No, really. What is bothering you? Mizuki, what is wrong? My little sister, Mizuki, tell me what is on your mind. We have been through so much together. We are family. There's nothing stronger than blood. You can tell me. Mizuki.
Toshi, I'm leaving.
Where are you going? And why? Mizuki? Is it the Americans? Does this have anything to do with the round eyes who were here? What has happened?
Nothing has happened.
But
He is cut off as Michael enters.
Michael, you're just in time.
Toshi?
He reaches out to shake Toshi's hand. Toshi does not reach out to accept the handshake.
I regret that we haven't met formally. My name is Sergeant Michael White. I was here a few weeks ago. I've gotten to know your sister Mizuki. She is wonderful and I have fallen in love with her. I want to marry her, and I would have asked her father for her hand, but since you are now head of the household, I wanted to let you know first because I respect her. And I want you to know that I do. I will take good care of her. We will write to you and call, and I'm hoping to have your blessing.
You want my blessing? Your people rain fire on our homes. You don't just kill our families, but you make certain that they suffer while they die. Then you come back, denounce our imperial emperor, take away our country, use our women for your pleasure, and you say you respect her? No, I will not give you my blessing. How can a marriage born of deceit and trickery be blessed? Leave now, Sergeant White.
Toshi, I am going to marry Michael, and I will go with him to America to be his wife. I am in love with him, Toshi. I will become an American and live there.
You are a member of a family, and the family is a member of Japan. Blood comes first, family comes first, Japan comes first. A person does not exist for himself. Do not question authority. You must always show respect to the divine emperor.
Toshi.
If you leave Japan to marry this American and go to live in the country of our enemy, you will no longer be a part of this family.
Toshi strides out of the store. Mizuki buries her face in her hands in despair and frustration. Michael puts his arm around her. Blackout. Scene 8. Setting back at Mike's kitchen in Ohio. At Rise, Mike and Susie are still reading Haiku.
You know what I always envied about you?
What?
Your name.
My name? You wanted to be named Mike?
No, but you have such a solid name. Mine is kind of silly. Susie. Mike. I mean, I would have loved to have had Michelle for my name, or Linda, or Kathy, but Susie?
Well, I was named after Dad.
I asked Mom why she named me Susie. She said that American soldiers couldn't pronounce the Japanese names, so they gave the Japanese girls American names. If you ask me, it sounds like they were all flirting. She was nicknamed Susan, so she named me Susie. Not Susan, Susie. I can't help but feel that the American Army let me down. I mean, the name is so cheerful. Susie!
Well, you know, Americans would give American nicknames to the Japanese, almost like the Japanese were their pets, and their own names weren't good enough. But as far as how their names were chosen, there's a chance that they might have nicknamed her after Susan Hayward, the movie star.
Oh, really? I thought it was because Susie kind of sounded like the Zuki in Mizuki.
Maybe. But Hollywood movie stars were really big. She used to talk about our Aunt Ginger. I wouldn't doubt that she was nicknamed after Ginger Rogers.
Aunt Ginger. I remember her talking about her. Was she her real aunt?
I don't know. I assume so.
So Susan Hayward. I could go for that. Susan. At least they didn't give her Judy Garland's name. I don't think I could have gone through life with the name Judy. It's so squishy. Judy.
Okay, Susie. Let's read some more.
Mizuki appears again in the light upstage of them and recites the poem as if she were recounting a memory.
Stone strikes tranquil pond. Heart cries out to understand. Silence. Silence. Tears. Princess of the moon, dark clouds hide her pale beauty, yet the sky is hers. Kaguya Hime must go to another world. Her heart leads her there.
Mizuki fades out with the light.
The sky is hers. The sky, the ocean, the world. Mom knew there was more out there in life, and she wanted it.
She's always been a feisty little Daruma-san.
Unlike the legendary Kaguya Hime, though, she didn't go back. Ever.
Blackout. Scene 9. Setting Yokohama Harbor, Japan. At Rise, Mizuki is waiting to board a ship. Suddenly, Shinju comes running up behind her.
Mizuki-san!
Shinju-san, I didn't think I would see you again. I'm glad you came.
I cannot stay long, but I did want to see you again before you leave. I am so happy for you. Mrs. White!
Oh, thank you. It'll be such a long time before I see anyone I know. I will be on this boat for months, and then I have to fly from San Francisco to Pittsburgh. I wish Michael and I could travel together, but he had to go back with his unit.
But soon you will be together again.
Yes. I will write to you and tell you all the news.
I am hoping that I will see you again. In America! I think Ralph will ask me to marry him. Last night he said he is very close to being sure. Sometimes he says he's 85% sure, but last night he said he was 95% sure. I just have to keep working on him until he's 100% sure. If he asks me, then you and I would live not too far from each other.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I wish it could happen soon enough that you can come to my American wedding.
You are getting married again? You have already married each other before he left.
The American government does not recognize our Japanese marriage, so we will get married again in Steubenville. But I'm looking forward to it. I have seen pictures of the American brides, and they are so beautiful. I can't believe I get to be one.
I have seen the magazines. They are beautiful. The long white gowns, the beautiful flowers. The men are so handsome in their suits. Mizuki-san, there is another reason I came today.
She holds out a box-like shape wrapped in cloth.
This is from Toshi. He would not come, but he asked me to give this to you.
Mizuki takes the gift and slowly unwraps the cloth from it. It reveals a beautiful black lacquer box, the one Susie and Mike have been looking at.
This is my mother's box. Where did he get this? I thought it was destroyed in the fires.
After the fires were finally out, Toshi said he went back to the shelter we were in that night. He wanted to see if there was anything at all that could be used. Food, flashlights, anything at all, since everything had been burned up. He found this in a corner in the back. It had fallen out of a bag when we had ran outside.
Why is he giving this to me?
He did not say. Mizuki, I know what he said to you, but blood is thicker than water. He's faithful to Japan and to our emperor, but you will always be his little sister. I don't think he will ever admit it, but I believe this is his way of showing what he will not, or he cannot, say.
Mizuki is silent. She notices that people have started boarding the ship.
I have to board now. I will miss you.
I will miss you too. Look, write to me. When I get to America, I will look for you.
Shinju waves at Mizuki while slowly backing off stage. Mizuki turns to face her future. She walks across the empty stage to the sound of drums, chimes, and traditional instruments. As she does so, large swaths of blue cloth, representing the ocean waves, undulate horizontally across the stage space. As she walks through them, vertical columns of sheer white cloth with silver stars, representing clouds and stars in the sky, appear, and gradually the blue cloth is withdrawn. Mizuki travels through and around these cloud columns, and when she reaches the other side of the stage, the white cloth is withdrawn, Michael steps out, and they join hands.
Welcome home, honey. Welcome to America.
He scoops her up into his arms.
First American tradition, I'm going to carry you over the threshold into your new home.
He carries her to center stage, sets her down, and begins showing her around the house.
This is the living room where we can have company. Oh, here's the fireplace. We'll hang stockings on the mantle at Christmas. And over there's the kitchen.
What is up there?
Oh, up those stairs? Well, that's more house. Let me show you the bedroom.
During the following exchange, Michael and Mizuki walk in different directions as they go about their daily tasks, but they always circle around to meet back in the center where the dialogue will be spoken. As they walk, they will pick up any prop needed for the next dialogue or strike the prop afterward.
Honey, can you help me move the bed?
Move the bed? Well, why does it need to be moved?
The head of the bed should never face north. When people die, that is the direction we lay them, with their heads pointed north in the direction that their spirits will go. It's bad luck to sleep like that. Here, help me. We can turn it this way.
They turn the bed and continue the circle as they break apart and walk again. Michael presents her with an orchid corsage.
Happy Easter, honey.
An orchid for me? How beautiful.
On Easter, all the ladies wear orchid corsages to church. I'm gonna be so proud to walk in with you on my arm.
They walk again. Mizuki strikes the corsage.
Michael, come see. I made the bed like they showed us in the class for how to be a good American wife. See? I have really tight corners here.
Hospital corners, excellent. You did a better job than I did in the Army. I'll bet you can bounce a quarter off the...
And I get to keep the quarter.
They laugh and circle again.
Mizuki, I have a surprise for you.
A surprise? What is it?
Michael pulls a vacuum cleaner out from behind him. Mizuki is delighted.
A vacuum cleaner?
Yeah, it's a Hoover. It'll make it so much easier for you to clean house.
Mizuki excitedly takes it from him and vacuums as she circles, striking the vacuum and picking up 2 bowls and spoons before returning.
What's for lunch, honey?
Mizuki presents him with a bowl containing half a grapefruit stuffed with tuna.
It's a new recipe I found in a housekeeping magazine. Grapefruit, stuffed with tuna, and Jell-O. It is a very healthy recipe, lots of vitamins.
Michael takes a bite but has difficulty swallowing it. Mizuki takes a bite, realizes how awful it is, takes both bowls, and runs from the room crying with disappointment. She strikes the bowls and spoons.
Honey, it's not that bad.
They circle. Michael arrives at center stage just moments after Mizuki to find her crying.
Honey, what's wrong? And what happened to the mailbox?
I heard a noise outside. I went out to look, and a man was hitting our mailbox with a crowbar and prying it off the post. I asked him what he was doing, and he yelled at me. I didn't understand all of what he said, but he called me a Jap lady.
They circle and return to center. Sound of thunder. The lights go out.
Uh-oh. Big storm. I think the breaker's tripped. Where's my flashlight? I'll go and reset them.
You don't know where your flashlight is? You should always know where your flashlight is in case the lights go out and we get attacked. You need to be able to find things in the dark.
It's okay. I have matches. I'll just use one to see where the flashlight is.
He strikes a match. Mizuki panics.
No! You could start a fire. You could burn the house down.
They circle. Michael is putting on a suit jacket and Mizuki is wearing a pillbox hat. She is carrying a salt shaker.
Ready, honey?
Yes, I have never been to an American funeral. Where is Mosty Funeral Home?
Not too far. It's... Why are you bringing the salt shaker?
Oh, I'm not bringing it. I'll leave it right outside the door. That way, when we come home, we can sprinkle salt over our shoulders before we go in the house.
But why?
To chase the spirit of death so he won't follow us into the house. You don't do that here?
They circle around again, strike hats and salt shaker.
Good morning, honey.
He is hiding a sheet of paper behind his back.
Good morning, I made you coffee. What is that? What is behind your back? What is this? This is a drawing of the mushroom cloud? Where did this come from?
It was taped to the front door.
Go back to Japan, you Jap. You bombed Pearl Harbor.
Today is December 7th. I'm sorry, honey. I know you had nothing to do with that.
They circle around and strike the paper. This time, Michael and Mizuki excitedly enter the stage, pausing for a brief conversation. Mizuki is about to take her test to become a naturalized American citizen. It is a huge moment for her.
Honey, you are going to be fine. You've studied so hard. You can do this. You can pass the citizenship test.
I can do this. Yes, with your help, I can do this.
When you come out of that room, you'll be an American citizen.
Naturalized American citizen. I have to work hard to get that. Wasn't born with it.
Is there anything you want to review again before you go in? Bill of Rights, Pledge of Allegiance, the Nationalization Oath?
I have those memorized.
What about the Declaration of Independence?
I know that. Ask me something I don't know.
The branches of government?
I know that too. Ask me something I don't know.
What is the name of our national anthem?
Star Spangled Banner. Ask me something I don't know.
What are we having for dinner tonight?
You were taking me out to dinner. Let's eat Italian, a true American meal.
Naples Spaghetti House it is. Oh, they're calling your name. It's your turn. Good luck.
Good luck.
I love you.
I love you too.
Go get them.
Wait, what is... Never mind. I know that. Good luck to me.
She goes into the testing room. Michael fades out of the light, and now we see Mizuki, under a bright light, on a small raised dais, reciting the naturalization oath of allegiance to the United States of America. As she recites the oath, Toshi appears in the shadows as a memory, as if an angel on her left shoulder, and, in a last attempt to change her mind, reminds her in haiku of the Japanese pledge of loyalty, Kimigayo. She bravely ignores any distractions and focuses on passionately completing the oath.
I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, continent, state, or sovereignty of whom or which I have heretofore been subject or citizen.
Kimigayo, to Emperor Hirohito, we pledge loyalty.
That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Emperor of God, 8,000 generations and more may you reign.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
Nippon must receive only complete loyalty from her citizens and obedience to remain invincible against her rivals.
That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law.
What would have happened had Momotaro yielded to the vile Oni? Friends, home, family, all that is sacred and dear would have been destroyed.
That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law.
Fisherman Taro was tricked by another world, giving up youth, life. He never again, tempted by another world, would see his loved ones.
That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law.
Kaguya Hime knew her place, her loyalties. The moon was her home. And though others begged her to stay with the mortals, she obeyed duty.
And that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Loyalties combined build strong country, strong people, abundantly rich.
So help me God.
Who is this new god? The god of Japan still lives in the rising sun.
Blackout. Scene 10. Setting, night. The yard outside Mizuki and Michael's home. At rise, Mizuki and Michael are going for a walk together, his arm draped over hers. They are happy and relaxed.
Honey, I am so proud of you. That was a lot of hard work. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure I could have answered all those questions myself. Helping you study made me realize how much attention I didn't pay in school.
I was halfway through the preamble to the Constitution, and they told me to stop. They could tell I knew it, and I didn't have to finish. But I told them I wanted to finish because I had worked so hard to memorize it. They laughed and let me say the whole thing.
That's my girl. Good for you. I am so proud of you. Did you see that? Oh, that's pretty special.
A moon moth. It's beautiful. We have in Japan too.
Moon moth? Yeah, well, here we call them Luna moths. I don't see them very often, but sometimes I'll find a pair of their wings lying on the ground after an owl or a bat or catches it and eats it. Seems a shame that something that beautiful lives just to be a meal for someone else. Speaking of owls, look over there. I've never seen an owl so huge.
Oh my. It looks like the owls we have in Japan. We have big fish owls. They were very tall, big wings.
I've never seen an owl that big. I mean, I've seen barn owls and even great horned owls, but that's none of those. Hang on, I'm going to run inside and get my binoculars.
Okay, I wait here.
Michael exits, and as Mizuki waits, the owl straightens up, lifts his head and wings, and turns to Mizuki to reveal a traditional, red-faced, long-nosed daitengu, played by the same actor who plays her brother Toshi. Wearing his huge brown wings like a cloak and holding a fan of 7 feathers in his hand. As Mizuki slips into PTSD-induced anxiety, the sound of distant taiko drums creates a heartbeat-like rhythm, and the following abduction should be choreographed. Daitengu approaches Mizuki and holds out his hand. She turns from him, but he grabs her, pulls her into him, and envelops her in his wings. Picking her up, he flies to the top of Mount Fuji, carrying her with him, and sets her down atop the mountain. From there, she witnesses a flashback, taking part in it as if it were happening at that moment, the night of the 1945 firebombing in Tokyo. The stage is saturated in red light. Daitengu takes on Toshi's persona and speaks Toshi's lines. Shinju appears, holding an infant. This time, all words are spoken in English.
Toshi, I can't stand this much longer.
Stay calm!
Are you sure we will be safe here?
Be quiet! Just listen.
It's so hot, I can't breathe.
Shut! Stop talking! Just breathe slowly.
Silence for a moment except for the baby crying.
If we stay in this shelter, we will bake alive. We have to leave. We have to make a run for it.
To where? Fire is raining down on everything.
The Sumida River, we can jump in the river. The water will put the fire out.
Not this fire. Not this sticky fire that the Americans have. You cannot wash it off.
In the beat that follows, we realize that the baby's crying has stopped.
Toshi-san, she is not crying. Is she breathing?
Matsui-chan? Toshi, she can't breathe. It's too hot.
I thought this shelter would keep us safe. The entire city's on fire.
Toshi, we will bake alive in here. It's going to be dangerous, but we have to leave here.
Everyone, keep together. Do not lose sight of each other. When I open the door, we must move quickly.
Where? Where will we go?
We will run for the river, but we might have to change course, so be alert. I know the way even in the dark. I will lead us. If we get separated, follow the railroad line. Do you have each other? Be careful of your clothes. The fire can catch your clothes. Now, go!
Immediately, the sounds of bombing, chaotic yelling, and screaming become close and loud. A bright, blinding light flashes as the family, silhouetted against the flames, pushes forward out of their shelter. As they exit the stage, a screen is lit in a way that the following scene is played out in shadows, silhouetted against flashes of white and red. A man in civilian Japanese clothing is running. His legs catch fire. He burns from the feet up. A woman with a baby strapped to her back. The baby's wrappings catch fire, and the woman is running with a burning baby on her back before she too catches fire. Another person is running with his head on fire. A horse pulling a cart. The horse's tail catches fire, and the entire horse becomes engulfed in flames. As the horse rears, lights and shadows shift so that we focus only on a white moon in a black sky. Silhouettes of Boeing B-29 bombers are seen flying against the moon, dropping bombs. Gradually, the moon turns red, and the sky turns white with smoke, dissolving into the Japanese flag. This in turn dissolves into a red morning sunrise over an image of a charred Tokyo. While the shadow part of the hallucination is happening, Daitengu takes Mizuki to one side to observe. When the hallucination has ended, he enfolds her in his wings and turns his back so that he is seen once more as the back of an owl. The sky returns to a starry, peaceful night in Ohio. Mike enters. He looks around but does not see Mizuki.
Honey? Honey? Where'd you go?
Slowly, Daitengu turns towards Michael, who is oblivious to the creature and sees only Mizuki as she drops slowly to the ground when Daitengu opens his wings. Michael rushes to Mizuki's side as Daitengu slowly backs away. Lights fade to black. Scene 11. Setting, Mike's kitchen, same night. At Rise, Mike and Susie are still exploring the contents of the box. Susie pulls out a dark feather.
Here's a feather. Did we ever have a bird?
Not that I remember. We always had dogs. Mom liked nature, so she probably just collected it. Oh, look, here's a pressed flower.
Careful. It's so old it could turn to dust. Look at these. Oh, I know what this is. These are Luna moth wings. They only come out at night. Sometimes we'd see them resting on a wall outside the basement, sleeping. We always left those alone, but sometimes we would find just the wings lying on the ground. She must have kept those.
Luna, the moon. Hey, doesn't Mom's name mean the moon?
Beautiful moon. What if Mom is really secretly a Luna moth, and these are her wings? We should put them back, or she won't be able to find them and fly again.
Whoops. There goes your imagination. Catch it before it falls off the table.
What if this box is like the one that the Sea Princess gave to Urashima Taro, and when we opened it tonight, Mom's youth flew out of the box?
I think Mom read you too many fairy tales.
I don't think you can ever read too many fairy tales.
Blackout. Scene 12. Setting, Steubenville, early to mid 1980s. At Rise, Mizuki is leaving her home to run errands. As she checks her purse to be sure she has what she needs, Shinju enters, unseen by Mizuki.
Mizuki-san! Oh, I'm so glad I caught you before you left.
Mizuki turns in surprise and sees her. It takes a moment to register that it is Shinju, as they're both older and so much time has passed. But when she realizes who it is, she is delighted.
Shinju-san? What are you doing here? How did you find me?
I used the phone book to find your address. I tried to call you, but you don't have an answering machine.
No, I don't want one. I don't need to come home to find nasty messages waiting for me. People try to sell you things. Also, if you call me, I have a signal. Let it ring 2 times, then hang up, then call again. That way I know it's someone I know. You want to come in for a while? I can make tea.
Thank you, but I can't stay long. I'm on my way to the airport.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Japan. Back to Tokyo.
Oh. Where's Ralph? Is he going with you?
Oh, no, that line, good for nothing. You remember back in Tokyo, I believed he wanted to marry me. Well, he went back to the United States and said he would send for me, but he never did. And then...
What happened, Shinju?
I found out that I was going to have his baby. I thought he would want to know, but he never wrote back. So I took my savings and followed him to Pittsburgh, but when I got there, I found out he was already married, and he was ashamed to be seen with me. He wanted me to get rid of our baby, but I couldn't do it. I was able to find work as a housekeeper, very nice family, and they let me raise my daughter along with their children.
Shinju, I am so sorry.
No, that is all right. I made my choices with what I knew at the time. I was young. I was naive. I believed what I was told, or maybe I wanted so badly to believe in something good, something magical. I made sure it was different for my daughter. I taught her to be strong, to stand up for herself, and not to depend on a man to make a life for her. And what about Michael? Are you still married?
We would be, but he died 4 years ago. Cancer.
I'm so sorry. Well, here we are. Single again, but this time in America. It's not what I thought it would be like. No fancy car, no big shopping trips. It was hard, but I did it. I survived.
Life was good for me. Not fancy like I thought it would be, but I got what I wanted. A good man who loved me, for me, a husband who I loved, a family, a house. It's lonely now with Michael gone and children grown up and moved away. I don't really get to see my grandchildren much because they live far away, but still, I am fine.
Mizuki, come to Japan with me. Let's go back to Tokyo and, I don't know, go home. Sakura still blooms, across ocean, across sky. It remembers us.
Too long I remained. The world took its leave of me. I stand here alone. No, I've been gone too long. This is my home here. I have children and grandchildren. I don't want to leave. And if I went back, it would be like the story of Urashima Taro. He left with the sea turtle to live under the ocean, and 100 years passed. When he finally returned to land, everything had changed. He didn't recognize anything. No one knew him. Everyone he had known was gone. When he took the lid off the box he was given, his youth flew out of the box, and he was left old, like I am now. Japan has changed so much since we were there. Everything is modern, so no, I don't want to go back. Everyone I know is gone.
Except Toshi. If I see Toshi, what do you want me to say?
If you see him, tell him I have 2 healthy children, a son and a daughter, and they were both at the top of their class in school and went to college. My son was a valedictorian, #1 in class, and made a speech at his graduation. My daughter has given me grandchildren. They are both very successful and healthy. Family comes first, and they are my family now. I have to stay here.
I understand. If I see him, I will tell him. Goodbye, Mizuki-san.
Goodbye. Thank you for coming by.
Goodbye. Oh, now that I know your address, I will send you a Christmas card. That way you will know where I am and we can keep in touch.
They smile at each other. Shinju exits. Blackout. Scene 13. Setting, Mike's kitchen. At Rise, Susie and Mike are sitting at the table sorting through all of the haiku handwritten on rice paper.
I feel like I just met Mom for the first time. If we had met in some strange parallel universe where we were the same age, I think we could have been friends.
She stands up, stretches, and goes to the window.
Wow. The moon is bright tonight.
Yeah. A full moon. When the moon is full, it's so bright you can look out and see foxes scampering about up to their nightly mischief.
A male barred owl hoots.
Mike, do you hear that? It's an owl.
I hear owls out there pretty often. I never actually see them, but I hear them all the time. Listen.
They listen, and the male owl hoots again.
That's him.
The owl repeats its call.
That's a male barred owl.
How can you tell it's a male?
The male has a shorter call than the female. He's been out here for the last several nights. But I haven't heard the female call back.
Oh, I hope he finds her.
We hear the male barred owl's call, this time followed by a female call.
Listen, did you hear that? That was the female.
They listen as the 2 calls are repeated.
You know, on a night like this, it's easy to imagine Kaguya Hime following the moonbeams back to her home. Oh, look! The owl!
Whoa. I've heard that owl so much over the last few days, but this is the first time I've seen it. There it goes.
Oh, it's so beautiful, silhouetted against the moon. I always thought that it was sad that Kaguya Hime had to return to the moon. So many people on Earth loved her.
Would you like some more tea? I'm gonna make myself a cup.
Oh, no thank you. I'm fine. Make sure you turn the burner off before you take the pot off, or you might forget it and it could start a fire.
You sound like Mom.
You still don't have a microwave? When are you ever going to get one?
Probably never. Mom's afraid of the radiation.
Oh. Okay, I can see that.
Susie gathers all the poems and photos and replaces them in the box.
Mike, doesn't this remind you of when Urashima Taro opened the secret box?
Yes. And his youth flew out. We just saw Mom's youth fly before our eyes, didn't we?
He nudges the box towards her. She looks at him with surprise.
What?
I think you should have it. Share it with your children. Mom doesn't need this anymore. She's already there in her past, in her mind. She's back home. And I don't think it will be long before, you know.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Well, I suppose we should call it a night. You need your sleep too. Oyasumi nasai.
Oyasumi nasai. Night, sis.
The lights fade out on Mike and Susie, but begin to come up on a young Mizuki, standing upstage of the kitchen table, looking fondly at Mike and Susie. She is wearing a white kimono that is crossed right over left, indicating that she has passed on.
Good night, Kuma-chan. Good night, Kaguya-hime. Oyasumi nasai.
As Mizuki finishes her haiku, a large full moon appears behind her and above Mount Fuji. Michael enters and stands silhouetted before the moon. Toshi enters, wearing his bird wings but not the Tengu mask. He holds out his hand to Mizuki. She takes his hand and he leads her upstage to Michael and presents her to him as if giving her away in marriage. Michael and Mizuki join hands, face upstage, and begin walking toward the moon. Toshi faces upstage and begins to follow Mizuki and Michael. Completely blocking them from sight, he raises his wings, and as he is silhouetted against the moon, the lights go out. Blackout. End of play.
Thank you so much, actors. That was awesome. Brilliant job. I know we don't have an audience, but, you know, we're going to do this anyway. Thank you so much, Director Mike Brannon. Thank you also, Judy Dove, for brilliant work here presented tonight. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, everyone who's watching tonight. This has been one great evening. So stay tuned for tomorrow night, or I should say tomorrow afternoon, at 1 o'clock for our next stage reading, and have a good night. Thank you.